Hi everyone, this is Today in History. Today is Wednesday, April the 10th, the 101st day of 2024. There are 265 days left in the year. On this day in 1583, Hugo Grotius, the Dutch jurist and scholar whose legal masterpiece, On the Law of War and Peace from 1625, was one of the first great contributors to modern international law, was born. On this day in 1633, bananas went on sale for the first time in London. On this day in 1849, the safety pin was patented by Walter Hunt in the United States. He later sold the rights to his fastener for just $400. On this day in 1866, 3 years after stopping a carriage driver in Russia for beating his horse, Henry Berg of the United States founded the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals in New York City. The ASPCA became one of the largest organizations dedicated to halting cruelty to animals. On this day in 1872, people in Nebraska celebrated the first Arbor Day, planting more than 1 million trees. Other U.S. states and countries later observed the holiday. On this day in 1912, the RMS Titanic embarked on its maiden voyage, which ended in tragedy several days later when the luxury liner struck an iceberg and sank. On this day in 1919, Mexican revolutionary Emiliano Zapata, a champion of agrarianism who fought in guerrilla actions during and after the Mexican Revolution from 1910 to 1920, was ambushed and fatally shot. On this day in 1925, the first governor led by French Premier Edouard, a radical party leader who had been put into office by the left-wing coalition Cartel de Gauche, fell. Also on this day in 1925, American author F. Scott Fitzgerald published The Great Gatsby, which became a literary classic. On this day in 1932, Egyptian actor Omar Sharif, who is known for his iconic roles in such films as Lawrence of Arabia from 1962 and Dr. Zhivago from 1965, was born. On this day in 1957, the courtroom classic 12 Angry Men was released in the United States. It starred Henry Fonda as a juror who tries to convince the others that the accused murderer may be innocent. On this day in 1970, the legendary rock band The Beatles spent the better part of 3 years breaking up in the late 1960s, and even longer than that hashing out who did what and why. As far as the public knew, this was just a temporary state of affairs. That all changed on this day when the ambiguous Paul McCartney's self-interview was seized upon by the international media, an official announcement of the Beatles' breakup. On this day in 1972, the development, production, and stockpiling of biological weapons was outlined by the Biological Weapons Convention signed by more than 150 countries. On this day in 1973, Pakistan adopted its third constitution, shifting the role of Zulfikar al-Bhutto from president to prime minister. On this day in 1986, Halley's Comet reached the perigee point nearest Earth of its most recent passage near the planet. On this day in 1988, after taking a decade to build, the Seto Great Bridge, spanning the inland sea in Japan, was open to traffic. On this day in 1998, the Good Friday Agreement was signed, calling for a devolved government in Northern Ireland. The accord was ratified by Ireland and Northern Ireland the following month. On this day in 2001, the Netherlands passed a bill permitting euthanasia, the first such national law in the world. On this day in 2019, astronomers released the first ever image of a black hole, which is the center of the massive galaxy M87. All right, everybody, that's it for today. Today is Wednesday, April the 10th, the 101st day of 2024. There are 265 days left in the year.